I am in the InstaFarm app on our demo site. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build out an InstaFarm page about Albuquerque, New Mexico and the surrounding area. If you folks have never been in New Mexico, there's about 2 cities that are very, very large with surrounding suburbs that they count as cities as well. I don't really think so. I think they're just kind of suburban areas. We've got Santa Fe to the north, and we have Albuquerque to the south. Albuquerque is known for all kinds of stuff. We have the International Balloon Fiesta here. Our food and culture is very Spanish in origin and also Native American in origin. So that's something that I'm going to highlight in my little typing up thing here too. Just to give you folks an idea of how it's all done. And basically what the farm pages are designed to do is they're supposed to act as a virtual tour of the area where people are looking for properties. And the first step that people always kind of get confused on or stressed out about is, well, what type of area should I focus in on? Should I do area codes? Should I do, counties, cities, neighborhoods? And the answer is really whatever you feel like, all of the above. If you really specialize in a huge city like New York, San Diego, San Francisco, LA, it's kind of tough to do different cities because it's all just one giant glob of buildings and people and infrastructure. So at that point, I'd recommend, if you're in one of those areas, even like Miami or something like that, focus on specific neighborhoods or specific areas of the city. In Albuquerque, we have the Northeast Heights. We've got the West Side. We've got uptown, downtown. Rio Rancho is the more suburban side of things. So that's probably how I'd lay my list out with a general overview. If you're in LA, there's tons of different smaller areas that you could specialize in. So you do have the opportunity to think macro or micro when it comes to building these out. So don't stress out about what type of page you're building. In this case, I'm going to start off with clicking Add New. And this is going to be the editor. You do not need to know any HTML or CSS, although we do give you the options to use it if you so wish. All you have to do is plug and play. You just go in, you type up information. From there, that information will be transposed onto an automatic template for you, so you don't need to build the page out from scratch. And again, all we're doing is we're going to fill out most of these, or at least give you an explanation on some of them. The first thing I want to show you before we get started, on the right-hand side, there is an SEO score bar located in this little sidebar here. This is going to go up or down in real time, and it's a hand-holding exercise to help you folks understand what makes good SEO content for the website or for the specified page. As you type, you will see the percentage go up. As you remove things, you will see it go down. So this is the first indicator to let you know the likelihood of this page landing on a first or second page search result once Google runs the algorithm and checks out the content on the page. So the first thing I want to do is enter a title. I get confused from they, their, and all those ones, but I can spell Albuquerque, no problem. So it's going to go to the next step. Let's build a new InstaFarm page, city and state. Also notate that once I entered in this information at the top, it's already created a permalink for me for this specified page. In the event that I wanted to edit this, maybe shorten it because I think that that's a little too much, I can always remove some stuff from the slug, shortening that link so it's easier to remember. So that's an option that you do have available to you once you've entered in the title. We have a city and state section where I've entered in, obviously, the city and state. And then the first thing it asks for is a YouTube video. Now, we know that you folks are really, really busy. We understand that. We do highly recommend for SEO content to create as much YouTube video content or any type of content as possible and add it into any of your content, blogs, farm pages, customized pages, posts, anything you can do. You'll definitely want to be adding some video content to it. All of the agents that you see who are very successful using EasyAgentPro, when they're doing long-term investment strategies like SEO, they're adding video content to it. This helps people stay more engaged on the page, and it'll also help individuals kind of understand who are more visual learners than somebody who reads or just deals with things a little different. In this case, I pulled up the big thing in New Mexico is the International Balloon Fiesta. It's a huge selling point for the area. Before I go into what we should do here, obviously this is not my content, and this is just, I'm just using this as an example. Please do not copy and paste video content that is not yours unless you have permission. Creative Commons law, copyright law is a big deal, and you don't want to get in trouble with it. I'm going to copy that YouTube video link, and boom, I'm going to paste it right here. The nice thing is that it's a win across the board when it comes to YouTube videos. Number one, Google owns YouTube. So anytime you create content, make sure you create your own little YouTube account so that you have something for for whatever you're doing. All right, so we have the YouTube video link there, quick and easy. The next step that we want to do is we have a menu name and add to menu button. These items here are designed specifically so that when you create this page, it'll automatically land in that featured area section on the homepage of your site. So if we go into your homepages, and obviously the templates will be different depending on what homepage template you've chosen. Some of them actually have buttons that you can select, specific areas in, and to actually have that automated, you'll want to make sure that when you're editing this page, you want to add that. Make sure you check add to menu. What this means is that when this page is done and I've launched it, it will automatically sit nestled into this featured area dropdown in your header menu. Some of the pages also have some buttons located on the templates. Again, that will be added. And then at the very, very bottom of the page in your footer, you also have some featured area sections as well, and the page will automatically be added as the newest one in this section, in this category. So it's a quick, easy way to just get the page sent out everywhere on the homepage of your website. The next thing is the community subtitle. I'm gonna do something pretty basic. Oh, I spelled it wrong already. Goodness. So give it some type of quirky little title. If you're in Florida, there's the Sunshine State. Obviously, a lot of beaches have some little thing, some little niche community that they've created. The state of New Mexico is the land of enchantment. I'm going to use that as the subtitle. The community title is Albuquerque. And then we write 200 words explaining to readers why the community is so special. What you're going to see here is just some basic editing tools as well, similar to like Microsoft Office or Word or Google Docs, something like that. It allows you to bold, indent, and underline. It's going to allow you to add links. It's also going to allow you to change the color of specific text, link colors, how to set the paragraph up, just like any other word editor would be. So in this case, I'm going to talk about Albuquerque for a second. So I'll put a couple of sentences in here. Now, when you're selling this area, when you're selling the specified thing, it's important to talk about several key features. Number one, what type of culture it has. Number two, the big one for families is how well the school districts are, how good the school districts are rather, and what type of outdoor activities, what type of things that are kid-friendly, family-friendly are available to you. In New Mexico's instance, we're a mile high, so I'm going to talk about maybe that, you go in any direction out of Albuquerque for 30 minutes and you have some of the best camping in the country. You have some of the best fishing and hunting in the country. It is truly the wild, wild west out here, so that's what I want. That's what I want to portray in this information. And also any history, right? New Mexico White Sands National Monument was home to the Trinity site for the atomic bomb. It's a piece in history. New Mexico is a really famous place. We actually have the oldest wine country here as well as the oldest capital of any state. So when you think about it, there's all kinds of cool little quirky things about each state, and obviously you folks know them. This is the type of stuff you want to sell to these individuals. You want to hype them up on living in a rich area, a culturally rich area, especially like if New Mexico doesn't have a good school system. You want to start selling them on the other things that you can do, your creative freedom, your artistic freedom, the whole 9 yards. All right, so explain to them that there's higher education. The other things that you can put in here is something like this. And this is true. The average home price here is dirt cheap. So give them the information, right? And this, I'm not sure if this is true, but look up the information, do a little research. Explain to readers why they want to live here. If there's obviously bad things, don't post them. It's that easy. With that said, what we're trying to do is we're trying to sell the area, right? We're writing 200 words, explain to the readers why the community is so special. If you notice, as I've gone through all of this information, my SEO scores actually jumped up a bit as well, which is super cool. The other ways that I can jump it up, if you notice there's an insert link button, what I can do is I can pull up the local university, for instance. I'm going to grab their link, and I'm also going to do that. Let's see. So I'm going to highlight the University of New Mexico. I'm going to insert my link here and then hit apply. And if I did that correctly, My SEO score just jumped up. Adding links makes Google very happy. It makes it easier for them to surf the internet and find that pertinent information that's being shared across all the networks, right? People want to find out about education. People want to know what is something that, what are some information and some key points that people are looking for in any type of website, never mind a real estate website. So you want to make sure that you're adding links to your content. You'll want to make sure that you're also using a keyword or phrase. For instance, this is about Albuquerque. That's going to be my keyword for this page is Albuquerque. It's really, really easy. Let's just pretend that I have added 200 words here. Clearly I haven't. There's maybe 60 or 70, not even, probably 50. But let's pretend that I have had 200 words explaining to the readers the local, the local restaurants, the local schools, everything like that. And then I have a let's add some pictures to your farm page, your farming page immediately after this text box. This is important. Google likes to see images. They like to see YouTube videos. They like to see all of that information on these specified pages. I'm going to go ahead and click the plus button. And if you notice, there's tons of information here already. This is all going to be saved on to our account. There's some stuff from Albuquerque that I've already entered in. In the event that you do not have images that you want to use, you can go to the upload files section and go to Pixabay images and search your local area. Somebody said that they were in New Zealand. If we search for that, it's going to start pulling up information about New Zealand, free images for you to share about New Zealand. I don't know if these are really exactly what New Zealand looks like. Never been there in my life. I hope it works, but you can do it for anything. Austin, Texas, boom. Texas Capitol building, there's downtown Austin, if you're familiar with it. This bridge is actually home to about, I think it's like a colony of 40,000 bats. It's actually a natural, historic monument now, which is super cool because of it. They come back every year and they rid the whole city of mosquitoes. It's really, really cool. Things like that. So you just want to comment and highlight specific things about the area. In this case, I already have some images that I know I want to use. Nob Hill is a downtown area. And this is like this is right next to the university. It's a really cool, quirky art place filled with old hotels and motel signs and stuff like that. So I'm going to select this information. There's a nice little southwestern gate, the International Balloon Fiesta, and I'm going to choose these images, and they will automatically upload directly to my farm page. If it's 3 or more, these images are going to sit in a carousel format, and you'll be able to side scroll through all of them, which is super cool. If you don't want one of the images, you just don't think that they're good enough, you'll highlight the X button, and it'll automatically remove it from the page for you as well. What you notice as we scroll down, we have a featured section. Again, 200 words in each featured section. There's only 2 of them for an equal amount of 600 words total for this page. That's the ideal word count for Google. You want to highlight specific things. In Albuquerque, I'm going to talk about the International Balloon Fiesta. Keep on forgetting the other L, like a fool. You could do a subtitle about it, right? So in this case, maybe it's something catchy, and then you're writing and explaining to the readers what makes that feature so special. Right? So you're explaining to the areas about this specific feature that makes it really, really special. The other thing, and then there's a second featured section because obviously Albuquerque doesn't have a lot going for it. I'm not going to lie. It's not the best place in the country to try and sell. It's tough to. Obviously, bigger cities have multiple things. In Portland, for instance, it's Soccer City, USA, right? That is their sport. They own soccer for the entire country. A lot of players in the MLS or move on to the international scene have at one point played there. They own it. It's theirs. That's a feature that you want to highlight. Providence Park. If you live in New Zealand, for instance, something you might want to highlight in a specified area or a larger city. I believe that it's the All Blacks, right? Or is that, it's not New Zealand, is it? The rugby team. Obviously, rugby's huge down there, or Australian footy or anything like that. That's something that you'd want to highlight, the team, the passion that the whole city has for that specific thing. Austin has all those great music festivals. Coachella is a great example if you live in California, something that you want to highlight if you live in that area. So there's always something somewhere, even in small towns. Highlight the local harvest festival for the fall, the fall festival that they put a little parade down the center of town for, things like that. That stuff, that's money. People love reading about that. You become a member of the community and you help people kind of trickle in and purchase homes by doing this as well. So you always want to highlight very specific things in the area. In this case, the other thing that I want to talk about for this, for New Mexico, is the historic influence. The conquistadors came down here. It was really one of the first times that the Native American people here ran into, some more technologically advanced individuals. And thus we have this really great culture clash. I mean, obviously it wasn't the best thing in the world historically, but New Mexico has a very specific culture. They're Spanish by origin, but very spiritual. So it's a very cool, eclectic place to live. And that's something that you want to highlight, right? Or, right, so you're explaining to the readers why Albuquerque is so special. Let me just check on, make sure you folks are doing it right. Yeah, Matt said, yes, we're world champs at rugby. Nailed it. Have a good one, Eric. Be safe. So Zach's asking, what else can we do to get that SEO score? Just hold off, Zach. I promise you it'll be very interesting. And I'm glad, Matt. I'm glad I was right about the All Blacks. It's pretty cool to see those guys play. That's something you want to highlight, right? You guys are really, really rich in sport, things like that. Like I said, Albuquerque is kind of a tough one to talk about. Let's pretend I've written 200 words here. Finally, the last several things that we need to do, we need to have a footer, a last call to action, right? The Pecos is a famous river here. And what's funny about this is, the song 8675309. It's going to be stuck in your heads for the rest of the day. 867 is a local area coded number here. So there is a person who probably has, some unfortunate soul in New Mexico probably has that as their last 4 digits. All right, so the last thing is a call to action. So we're entering information, just a last minute call to action for people to contact you. The lead may not be generated 100% through, say, a form, but they may say, hey, I saw your phone number on that page about Albuquerque. I want to look at a property, right? Super cool. So you're entering a little last bit of information here. We're going to scroll down to the extra information in IDX short code. Once IDX is installed on your site, this is actually the area where you want to make sure you're adding a list of properties in the area that you just sold, right? You're immediately giving them properties. You're immediately giving them something to look at. Hopefully they find the house of their dream in that list. They call you and say, this is the one, I want to check it out tomorrow. Boom, you've got yourself a lead. The way that it works, it's just a normal box. You can add whatever type or text you want. In this case, I'm using this specifically for my IDX shortcode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the IDX shortcode button. This is going to load up a pop-up here. And this pop-up is going to pull up something that says listing gallery. The first thing that I want to do is go ahead and select one, and I want to select the listing report. None of these other ones are going to be beneficial for me at the moment. You can add a search bar if you want, which is super cool. And we can do that at the top if we wanted to, and I'll show you how to do that. But in this case, I want to do listing report. And then in the market selector, let's pretend I've created the Albuquerque market, it would nestle in here. The demo site is set up for California. I'm just going to use Auburn as an example. Let's pretend it was Albuquerque. The sort section on here, this is what's really important as well. I'm a big fan of doing it by listing date instead of a price sorter. And the reason for that is you're going to have a mixture of property prices when you do it by listing date. And it's going to be the newest listing available to them. It's the automatic most up-to-date list of properties for sale in the Auburn area in this case. If you do it by price, you are going to miss out on the in-between people. There may be people who can't afford a $2 million house, but they definitely are above the $350,000 range, and that's right in the middle of the search for bigger cities. So if you do it by newest date, you're going to have a better, more spread out list of property prices than, like I said, the Illuminati style amounts of money, or the smaller investments that are 100,000, 200,000. You get a nice mix of the in-between, which is important. The results per page, I actually like to do 24 results per page. I think it loads up a little bit faster, and it doesn't overwhelm the potential lead with, an infinity scroll that they're constantly scrolling down just to look at more properties. It allows them to really home in and maybe even look at a specific property in more detail. So I set it for 24, and the rest of it I keep the same, and I copy it to my clipboard. So the display header stays the same, copy it to your clipboard. You're going to go ahead and mark the X, and then you're just going to paste that information right into this box here. If you notice it just looks like gibberish, that's fine. That means it's working, so do not stress it out. It's super simple. if you wanted to add a search box too, right? So for instance, in this last call to action, right? So I'm highlighting, looking for a house in New Mexico, check out the search below. And now I'm also going to enter in the IDX button again. And instead of selecting a listing gallery or report, I'm actually going to do the search bar. It's going to ask me what city I want to select in. I'm just going to go ahead. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So there's all the pricing, right? All that information. I'm going to copy that search. Oh, I do have to select a city though. That's kind of a bummer. Well, then we'll do one local to close to Auburn. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll do Sonora. And then house and condo. Copy it. We'll do Rio Rancho. Right, so we're entering in that last little search bar, that property search there as well. So you can add a bunch of different searches in here, right, if they wanted to look at a different area. And then finally, let's see here. Zach, are you still with us? Hopefully you are. He's asking what else we can do to get the SEO score to 100%. I've typed up a lot of information here. Clearly, I need more information to add. If you notice as I scroll up, my score is at 28%. There's a couple things right off the bat that we can take care of. Number one, our featured image. I'm going to set a featured image to something New Mexico related. Let's find one. So number one, we're going to set a featured image. Number two, we're going to scroll down to the bottom here. And now that I've typed up all this information, there's an SEO section. The first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and use our metadata and set it up properly. Right. Just giving a brief explanation on what makes the area so special. And then if you notice, there's a focus keyword box. We're going to use Albuquerque because obviously that's what we're talking about, right? We've talked about Albuquerque several times. Oops. Because it's the demo site, this isn't going to go up or down really in real time, but you get an idea of what it looks like. When I enter this in, it's going to move this bar up, and our goal is to get the little button in the center. These are the indicators on how to get your SEO higher, right? So for best results include at least 600 words in your post. I've only used 291, so I need to type up some more information, and that'll give me a higher SEO score. I've only used one page link, which I linked to the University of New Mexico. It wants at least 2 of them on the website. The other thing as well is it wants me to use my keyword in the title and the URL. I have done that, but again, the only reason why it's not updating is because this is the demo site, so it's taking its sweet time on it. But these will go up or down in real time. And Zach, this is the indicator that'll help you hit that 100% SEO. With that said, I do recommend that you focus on one page at a time, get it to that 100%, and then move on to the next page. Once you update this page to 100%, you don't have to mess with it anymore unless you want to change the statistics out or something simple like that. So it's a really, really cool, beneficial tool for you to use. This is the area where it will help you recognize what SEO content should be added to make it a better page. But in the long run, as long as you fill it out as to what it's requesting, you should have no problems filling out that keyword and then getting this page to bump up to 100% SEO. We can preview the page as well to see how it looks with all the content that I've added. So we can get an idea of what the page is going to look like live. In this case, the first thing that's going to pop up is that really great video. The background image should load up here in a second. And then all of my so there's that background image, and then all of my content's been added. Here's that nice little paragraph with the link to University of New Mexico. It's rotating out the images for me automatically. I can look at more of them if I want to. We've got 2 left and right, the featured area sections talking about specific things, and then the MLS properties that appear within that specified area. It's a very, very cool tool. There's a search, right? Looking for a house in Rio Rancho, check out the search below. So they also get an idea of some other houses in maybe a different area. So there you go. That's how you create a really nice, clean InstaFarm page. It's super simple to use. The other thing that I did want to show you folks, we are having a special. There are upgrades for these specific InstaFarm pages. We have a special going on until December 1st, specifically for farm pages. If you go to the upgrade section, you'll notice that there are 2 InstaFarm upgrades if you're brand new. The first thing, number 1, we can set up the locations for you. We will build out your markets and attach them to the farm pages, basically sorting out half of your work for you for a one-time charge of $99. The other thing that we can do for $9.99 is write out and do the research for you on the areas, the 10 areas that you want. This is the special that we have going on right now. We do take $100 off of it until December 1st. And this will save you a lot of time. So if you value your time, this is something that I recommend doing. You will schedule a call with Chris T or Lucas. They will interview you, asking you what specific areas you want to highlight or any specific things within those areas that you want to highlight. And within 2 weeks, all 10 of your farm pages are at 100% SEO rate for you for the $9.99. We do all of the work for you. So it is something to think about. It is available to you for $9.99. You do have my for $8.99 instead of $9.99 because of the special till December 1st. If you folks are interested in it, please email me and let me know, and we'll get you all scheduled up. But again, just the featured areas, creating the markets and adding them to those 10 farm pages, we take care of that for you for $100 as well. And this is prorated. So if you do this, you type up one of them and you go, you know what, this is too much work. I want to do the $1,000 package. We'll also take $100 off of it. So feel free to ask questions about this as well. If you folks value your time, it might be something to think about. With that said, take it easy, folks. You have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the holiday. Please have a glass of wine or a beer on my behalf. Hug the family from all of us at EasyAgentPro, and we will see you folks on next week, Monday, bright and early. Have a great rest of your day. Look forward to chatting with you. Happy holidays.